If you're someone that has asthma, well, you know you should avoid triggers, whether the allergens be things like pollen, dust, or mold, or avoiding smoking, or cold weather and stress, and exercising regularly. But what types of exercise exactly are the best for people with asthma? A recent meta-analysis examined just that. It was done on 28 randomized control trials involving around 2,200 adults with asthma, and they assessed the effects of different forms of exercise. There were 5 types. There was resistance training, aerobic exercise, breathing exercises, aerobic exercise combined with breathing exercises, or yoga. And they assessed the effects on different markers of respiratory fitness. Right? And the trials lasted anywhere from a week to about 4 years, so a lot of variability there. Now, what they found, interestingly, was different types of different markers of respiratory fitness, which we'll talk about here in a second, were affected by different forms of exercise to a greater or lesser degree. Now, all forms of exercise improve what they call forced expiratory volume, and that's when somebody takes in as much air as they can and then blow it out. It's how much you can blow out after you take in as much air as you can. And number 1 was resistance training, interestingly, for improving FEV, or forced expiratory volume. And number 2 was a combination of breathing exercises with aerobic exercise. All right, so that's for FEV. Forced vital capacity is another thing that they measured, and forced vital capacity is just how much air you can breathe in at once. So, forced vital capacity, measure how much air you can take in, and actually all the forms of exercise showed an improvement there as well, except for resistance training, interestingly, which was number 1 for FEV. So that's relatively fascinating. We don't know exactly why, but what improved forced vital capacity the most was a combination of aerobic exercise and breathing exercises. So aerobic and breathing exercises are really good. Remember, they ranked in at 2nd for improving FEV, where resistance training was 1. And here they're number 1 for forced vital capacity. So those are definitely good things you'd want to do if you have asthma. All right, and number 2 here was just pure aerobic exercise. The last one they measured was peak expiratory flow. Peak expiratory flow is the max speed at which you exhale. Okay, the max speed you reach. So really, I guess the power at some point by which you're exhaling, right? More so than the amount. And number 1 here was yoga. So all of them improved this one as well. So all of them improved each of the measures except for forced vital capacity. Remember, the only one that didn't there was resistance training. But that was number 1 for the first one. And it was number 2 for this one, for peak expiratory flow, where yoga, again, was number 1. So, long story short, without knowing what peak expiratory volume or a forced expiratory volume, I should say, forced vital capacity or peak expiratory flow or whatever the hell any of that is, it doesn't matter, right? Just know that resistance training, aerobic exercise, breathing exercises, and yoga all show benefit for improving symptoms of asthma, right? And you want to live a healthy lifestyle that, again, mitigates stress and avoids triggers, and you always want to make sure you have that inhaler on you, because those airways have become inflamed. There's chronic inflammation. Your body is hypersensitive to certain triggers. And, if it happened early in life, it was probably a genetic thing, but it could have been an environmental thing, a lack of exposure to an environment that would train your immune system, if you will. Over sanitization type thing, if somebody experiences it later in life, is typically probably associated with it. But they don't know exactly what causes asthma, but you should know there's increased mucus and spasms of those airways, those little airways, those bronchioles, and they get narrower and they get thicker and fibrotic over time, and it's tough for people to breathe. They're full of mucus, and when you have an attack, it feels like you can't really get any air. So this is something that can just improve your respiratory health overall if you have asthma. So go and do it, people. What do you say? I hope you don't have asthma. Asthma is part of the atopic triad. We talked about that with atopic dermatitis. or eczema, and the other one was allergic rhinitis in that triad. So often people that have one have multiple of those, or all three. I'm Nova, how you doing? Malcolm, what's up, brother? Lou Barrios. Kid with hazel eyes. Thanks, Miles. See you later. Hugo NDC. How are you, my friend? Marlazan. Que pasa, my friend? Galen Thompson. Galen Thompson Sr. Appreciate you guys. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Cat and Chi Pedro. Judith. That's Rhonda. What's up, girl? How you doing? Frerat Young. Scott Clark. We're seeing some new faces. I love it. Tyree Sebaldin. How are you, my friend? And the first one of the day was Ted Newsham. Thank you for coming on, Ted Newsham. Go do something fantastic for yourself today. If you have asthma, I hope that was useful information, and I hope you don't have asthma. But if someone you do know has it, then there you go. You can tell them this stuff. Basically to go exercise. But now you know exactly how. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day. It's all we got for you, folks. We'll see you tomorrow, baby. Not sure where, not sure when, but we'll see you then. Have a great one. Thanks so much. Happy Wellness. We'll see you later.